And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Antonio Cipallo. I feel like you've already done one of yours recently. But you asked the question, who would win in a fight? Devilman versus Chainsaw Man. Both mans, both devils, both chainsaws. Both, not quite, but they're both more than a man, more than meets the eye. I'm not very familiar with either of these series. I know about Chainsaw Man because of how popular it ultimately is, but I never really got into it. It just wasn't my thing. I know less about Devilman, to be honest, but I do know at least the general plot that devils exist in the Devilman world. In both worlds, but in the Chainsaw Man world. And basically, what it is he inherits basically his Denki, who was the main character, or Denji, inherits his father's from Mafia. After meeting Pochia, he becomes a devil hunter for the Yakuza in an attempt to clear the debt. He ultimately ends up meeting someone named Makima and becomes a public safety devil hunter. Pochia is basically the thing that lets him become the Devil Man, or the Chainsaw Man, more or less. He's this little chainsaw dog thing, and it's quite adorable. Basically, because he's basically in a contract with China, his heart is fused with this little dog, so he basically has a much more durable build than a normal human, and he can kind of just survive anything so long as Pochina survives. He's kind of fundamentally immortal to some degree. But more to the point, though, in his hybrid transformation form, which is the form you mostly see, he has augmented strength, able to lift and throw a car, augmented durability, can take a lot of hits and lose limbs and keep going. He can actually recover from consuming enough blood to just regenerate his entire, from just about anything. Enhanced stamina. Obviously, he has his chainsaw ability, which allows him to manifest chainsaws on his arms, legs, feet, and his head. These chainsaws are extremely effective at cutting devil flesh, allowing him to sever limbs and bifurcate his enemies. They are also very effective at cutting other materials such as stone and concrete. However, they have not been shown to be capable of cutting through metal. Basically, these are just very powerful chainsaws that are maybe a little above the standard chainsaw. The chainsaw in his legs and feet are not usually active. However, he can employ them just by willing it. Just like the rest of his body, chainsaws are regenerated every time he pulls his card and fully transforms. He can retract them as much as he wants. He can use the chainsaws for clawing on the walls, and he uses the chains of their chainsaws to actually pull individuals towards him for further damage. He does have even further devil transformation beyond this. He's been shown to have taken, so basically, after surrendering his contract with Pochia, he transferred into a full devil. In this form, he displayed incredible speed and strength, easily defeating multiple hybrids in a matter of seconds. That means he's probably moving at well beyond relativistic, supersonic speeds. He's basically moving faster than the eye can comprehend. Though he's been shown to have taken damage, he's been incapacitated by being sent to hell and blasted into space. These actually delayed him for a few minutes, however, before he returned unscathed. So yeah, he can survive literally a shot into space in the atmosphere and then going back to hell, and he just came back. His immense power is further heightened in hell, where it's implied that he defeated every demon residing there. Makima stated that he has killed her 26 times in this form. This form seems to lack Denji's personality awareness, though has been shown to retain some memories and frequently acts in accordance with them. And after defeated by Mikima to save Kunbeni and later rescued Power, he transferred back into his normal form and regained his consciousness. As I said, he is kind of nigh immortal. It's very difficult to fully kill this guy unless you were to kill the individual he had a contract with. He is pretty skilled in hand-to-hand, however. He's even without his transformation, he's capable unarmed and armed fighter. So he's apparently got a solid strategic intelligence, but he does have a weakness in anemia and low blood amount. Despite being turned into a devil hybrid, he actually suffers from anemia, which he was fatally injured either by a shallow cut or heavy blow, which weakens his transformation into Chainsaw Man. To counteract this, he must consume many amounts of devil blood to refill his strength. Then you have the Devilman, or as he is, I believe, called Akira. Akira Fudo from Crybaby. By the way, I don't know for certain if this is the Devilman you wanted me to do. He seems to match similar up to in terms of in terms of type of character to Denji pretty well. This incarnation of Akira is quite sensitive and caring person. As a child, he would help anyone to the best of his ability. Ultimately, he gained he once living as a regular human, he gained the power of the demon Amon after being inducted into a Sabbath ritual organized by his best friend Ryu. Basically, he became cocky after his initial Devilman transformation, openly challenging thugs to a fight during a trick race with no worries. He has also later developed a strong hatred for demons, so he probably hated Chainsaw Man pretty well. He also valued his friendship with Ryu, or he values his friendship with Ryu, his friend who kind of organized his transformation. Ryu and Ryu engaged in major disagreements throughout the series. Even so, he then ended up Akira trusted Ryu to end his life if he ever became anything like a demon. And when he ultimately betrayed Akira, he revealed all the footage it took of him as Devilman started the chaos around the world, and Akira was deeply hurt. But in the end, Akira would ultimately die at the end of this, like in the battle that would ensue near the end of the series. And because apparently Ryu was actually a fallen angel named Satan. Anyway, he wasn't very manageable as a human. Like, he was pretty below average, being the slowest member on the track team. But becoming Devilman, his body was enhanced to superhuman levels. In his human state, he was able to run at very high speeds, faster than professional athletes, and his enhanced strength would allow him to force locked doors open and defeat 5 thugs with only one arm. As Devilman, his strength and speed reflexes allowed him to tear through enemies before they had a chance to react. His jaw strength alone was capable of tearing the flesh from bodies. His claws allowed him to slice through enemies with great ease. The horns on his head had improved his hearing, allowing him to sense incoming projectiles based on sound and air pressure. The wings on his back slowed his fall, allowing him to leap high into the air, enabling him to glide or fly across long distances. The interesting thing is, Devilman was also able to manifest different abilities depending on the situation, including elastic limbs, night vision, increasing his own body temperature to the point of making Gilmer evaporate, or using it to outwardly cause an explosion. So, if you're going to ask me just on stats alone, I think Denji would take this fight. I think Chainsaw Man would take this fight just on stats alone from what I'm reading here. However, the ability to manifest just any random power that kind of is suitable for the time is not something to be overlooked. In theory, Akira as Devilman would possibly be able to manifest an ability that would be a counter to Chainsaw Man, maybe robbing him of all the blood in his body or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing a random thing out there. But if we're just looking at base to base, and these two meet each other and just decide to kill each other, I think from just a pure physical standpoint, I think Denji is, again, this is what I can find, not that I know these series extremely well. I've said that already. Denji, I think, holds the physical edge, as well as the Chainsaws being very exceptional at cutting devil flesh, or like Devilman. So Devilman would already be at a slight disadvantage because Denji was already a skilled unarmed fighter to begin with. Plus, he's also physically enhanced. But it really just comes down to the fact that Devilman can kind of pseudo-fly, is still physically enhanced as well, and is capable of manifesting random abilities, which is really the crux of why it's difficult to decide here who would win. But I think from what we have been able to see, I think Chainsaw Man would take this fight. The fight would most likely break down. They both come at each other. They're both going toe-to-toe for a bit, but Denji, being the smarter and more skilled fighter overall, quickly starts to rip through Devilman in close range. Devilman probably backs off, maybe actually summons his ability, creates an explosion. Chainsaw Man gets thrown back. He's hurt, but he's able to get back up. Suddenly wraps him with his chains, pulls him in, and starts just gutting him. If Devilman is able to get out of that, it's not without being scathed, or it's not unscathed. So the fight would probably go down. If he ended up going into his true devil form, like it's just full-on devil form, then I don't see an avenue of victory for Devilman, because we have hypersonic kind of feats for the demon form he had, and he's beaten every devil in hell, demon in hell, according to Makima, either way. So point being, as a devil, Chainsaw Man seems to come off as a lot stronger, at least from initial hair, at least from initial feats and research, from what I can tell. But I mean, give me 1 second. Let me be as fair as I can here. 1 second here. Let me see if I can find some feats for Devilman that could change my opinion here. Let's see here. Feats. So let's see here. Respect. Okay. I mean, because let me put this. Does he have anything like planetary feats or anything? Seem to say you run very feet. That doesn't tell me anything. Zhang, does it get, what powers does he have? Demon transformation capable, sense humans, grants extremely acute hearing. It doesn't really matter in this fight. Devilman, Amon, being among the mightiest and strongest, possesses a great vast array of powers even before he gained demonic. Again, that's not giving me feats here. Let's see here now. Any sort of feats at all? Strength. Okay, here we are. Okay, I mean, if we're gonna go to the versus wiki, which I probably shouldn't be doing, it at least gives me an idea of what we're looking at here. Attack potency, multi-city block level comparable to Q, which maybe Denji doesn't quite have that level of power, but I think it's made up for speed, ability, durability, and its chainsaws alone. His speed is also hypersonic. Okay, so they might be at least comparable in speed. Lifting strength and around the 10 class higher power scaling, so I'm guessing 10 ton. Striking. So, I mean, based on all this, it does seem like he does actually possess the overall better degree of power compared to Denji, but Denji is still skilled enough that I think he'd be able to keep up with him, and those chainsaws will still most likely be able to rip him into shreds. If he ends up going to a full demon mode, then the gap between them is greatly diminished and closed, and they'd all be just throwing hands at each other. I still probably would lean more Chainsaw Man, though, because he did go and beat all the devils in hell, according to the story. But I would say, based on what I'm seeing here, is that Devilman certainly would be a decent competitor, definitely. He's definitely got the ability to just spawn new abilities. His fairy hacks in many ways. He can fly, and he's clearly, from what I can tell, a very physically powerful individual, especially for maybe like the Chainsaw Man world. But the way the immortality of devils works means that it would be very hard to put Chainsaw Man down for good, especially if he's actually able to consume some blood. So I would still go Chainsaw Man, but this is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you feel different. If you do, that's cool. Till then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.